A very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the show. How is everybody doing tonight? Welcome back to the new nerd in town. I am Dave, the new nerd, and I am here to discuss some updates in the comic book world, some good, some bad, some indifferent. I know tonight it's a big night in the movie world in general. The Oscars are actually going on right now. And so I'm just going to do a completely blanket for all the winners, for all the people who were nominated and the movies that were nominated out there. Congratulations and a very good job well done on all your movies, whether it was screenplay, whether it was music, music in the screenplay, best actors, actresses, directors, writers, everything, even the makeup artists and all that kind of stuff. Congratulations for being nominated, and to all of you winners out there, a special congratulations for winning. And that is the end of my Oscars part of the evening. I've never really seen any of the major hold on a second. Just out some. I didn't really see any of the major Oscar, like the Best Picture nominees. I saw none of them. I'm actually waiting till they come out on air, or on digital HD in order to see it. However, that's not why we're here tonight. We are here to discuss the latest news in the nerd movie fandom. And I guess I should say it now, if you're just watching and you just muted the Oscars, Suicide Squad, the David Ayers August release from Warner Brothers, the third in their DCEU, is now an Oscar winner. Now, before you get all crazy and start sitting there and going, whoa, it won for Best Makeup and Best Hair. So, Best Hairstyle. So, it's an Oscar winner. So, I mean, a win is a win is a win is a win. And it beat out all the other movies. So, congratulations to the makeup artists and hairstylists from Suicide Squad, as well as all the actors, actresses, writers, directors, producers, and everything like that. So, Suicide Squad is now a Oscar-winning movie. Congratulations to all of them for the hard work, and we can't wait to see the second one. But to the show tonight, we've got some updates. In fact, actually, the first one we're going to be discussing tonight is kind of an update from another story that we were doing. The last show I did on Wednesday, we were sharing some news that happened the week after, between the previous Wednesday and last Wednesday. We were sharing some news of another hiccup in sort of the movie making process for the movie The Batman, starring Ben Affleck. Now, timeline of this whole thing: just Dawn of Justice comes out, Batman v Superman comes out. Ben Affleck is named Bruce Wayne / Batman. Movie comes out, he does a fantastic job, and then pretty much as the dust was settling from the Batman v Superman cloud storm, whatever you want to call it, the air was starting to clear, and then all the promotions of Suicide Squad came in. And then all of a sudden, we got a little bit of news snuck in there that Ben Affleck will be directing and acting in the lead role of The Batman, which was going to be a standalone movie, kind of like your Iron Man or Captain America movies to the Avenger movies. So not only were we getting a Justice League movie, Wonder Woman, The Flash, possibly a Cyborg movie, but now we were definitely going to get a Batman standalone or a Batman like story arc movie that will help push along the Justice League movie. Great, fantastic, wonderful. Suicide Squad comes out. First real standalone movie in the DCEU. You know, made a lot of money. Came out with some critically acclaimed stuff. movie could have been a little bit better than it was, but forget all that stuff with Suicide Squad. And then there was really nothing. There was like a little bit of updates here and there about Batman and all sorts of that stuff. So we leave 2016, we come to 2017, and we are hit with the saddened news about like a month ago that Ben Affleck, the possibly director and the star of the Batman film, decides to drop out of the director's position and wants to mainly focus on just being Bruce Wayne slash Batman, saying that the pressure is getting a little too much. He wants to make sure that the character that he delivers, the character he delivered in Batman v Superman, the character he will be delivering in Justice League, and the character that we saw do a couple of cameo performances of in Suicide Squad, that's the character, that's what he wants to work on. He does not want to direct. This saddened a lot of people, including myself, because Ben Affleck, although he's known for some of his acting portrayals of, not being the best, except for like in Gone Girl, which was amazing, he was definitely known as a director. He was actually, I think he was more, or he had like more accolades as a director than he does as an actor, which is completely fine. The guy's directing ability is pretty genius. So the so now he drops out of the director role. Again, not a huge big deal, these things happen, especially where people, need to focus on one thing more than the other. So now it becomes who's going to be the director behind Ben Affleck. Well, about 2-ish weeks later, we heard a name come out from the pack, and it was Matt Reeves. I did no research for this. Matt Reeves came out, and he was the front runner for the Batman. And he's most famously known as of late for doing Dawn of Planet of the Apes. He also directed Cloverfield back in 2008, and he's just finishing up War of the Planet of the Apes. If you haven't seen Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, I suggest you go see it. It's a fantastic movie. Andy Serkis playing Caesar is just mind-blowing. So now last Wednesday I came on, and I didn't really bash Matt Reeves. He the negotiations fell apart between him and Warner Brothers. Really, I was going after Warner Brothers because they have a vision as to how much money they want to make. Whereas these directors, including Ben and David Ayers and even Snyder himself, Zack Snyder himself, they've got a vision for these movies. But for some reason, they get stepped on. And they get stepped on for the biggest reason of all is just making more cash. Well, now now Matt Reeves drops out of it. And I came up with a short list of directors: Anton Fuqua, Joss Whedon from The Avengers, which I know it might sound a little crazy, but guess what? A nerd's a nerd's a nerd's a nerd. If you have a great nerd doing great movies on one brand and he's not contractually obligated to be with that brand anymore, since he did his 2 Avenger movies and he's still a collaborator on the other Avengers movies, well then he could possibly cross over. Guy Ritchie was another one from the Snatch. Even David Leitch, one of the 2 geniuses behind the John Wick movies. So I came up with a short list, seemed pretty solid. Thursday afternoon, this past Thursday, as I was finalizing all the VODs, video on demands for those of you who need a little catch up, and as I was getting the podcast ready to go out after what I thought was a pretty darn good show and a pretty darn good short list of possible directors, I find out Matt Reeves has accepted and is now the director and the producer for The Batman. So, as you can see from this lower third below me, it says, "Welcome to Gotham." And I mean that wholeheartedly. Welcome, Matt Reeves, to Gotham. And I tip, if I had a hat around near me, I tip it off to you. I wish you the best of luck. I cannot wait to see a full movie of, or another full movie of Ben Affleck being the coy yet older and a little bit refined um, Bruce Wayne, and definitely the badass Batman that he was in Dawn of Justice. I'm super excited to see what you've got. I loved Cloverfield. I love Dawn of Planet of the Apes. That I will see War of the Planet of the Apes. Um, and I've just got to tell you that I wish nothing but the best of luck to you. And I wish you an extremely amount of luck because we have seen, because of social media and stuff, we have seen the rise and fall of these DCEU movies where we see movies getting made, we see great trailers, we see, we've got questions, we've got answers. We see, a different type of Joker in that of Jared Leto in Suicide Squad. We see, a route as to where they're going with this storyline, and um, it's not a um, it's not maybe a vision that we as fans wanted to see. It's definitely not the Avengers. It's a lot darker than the Avengers, but it's what's making them money. And because it's a comic book film and they are pretty much the some of the top tier popular films out there, then guess what? We're going to be seeing a lot more of them, both from Marvel, DC, and even we're going to get some stuff from Dark Horse and some of the other smaller yet equally as important comic book series. So I wish all the best for Matt Reeves, and I really, really, really cannot wait to see Ben Affleck reprise this role, not just in this movie, but in the Justice League. I'm sure maybe in Wonder Woman there'll be something, maybe a little bit of something with him. I doubt it, considering this is basically her origin story, and Batman wasn't alive back in where this looks like it takes place. So I'm going in with a an open mind, and we've heard nothing negative so far from Wonder Woman. The trailers look badass, um, and there's been none of those seething rumors of possible reshoots and fighting behind the scenes and stuff like that. At least none of note. Whereas there were ones for Suicide Squad and for Batman v Superman. However, the year is still young. The movie doesn't come out till June, so there's plenty of time for something like that to pop up and happen. However, hasn't really happened yet. Same thing with Justice League. There really hasn't been any hubbub about any sort of negative connotation going towards the movie or something like that. It's just the fact that people are looking for it, which is, why look for a problem? If there's no bad news about it, I'd rather there be bad news about The Flash or The Batman, because these movies are at the very infant part of their stages of their inception. You know, great if the director finds a way, great if the director drops out and then comes back in. There's really no script yet. The scripts are still going through rewrites. Same thing with The Flash. The scripts are not really going through a rewrite. So it's not like you have a director who's sitting there waiting for a script to come by. You're still making your negotiations with the scripts and the directors and even some of the actors and actresses that you want playing the other parts, because the title parts are already set up. You already have Ben Affleck as Batman. You already have Ezra Miller as Barry Allen slash The Flash. You already have Jason Momoa as Aquaman. So you've got the main characters set down. You've got where you kind of want to take their stories. Batman should hopefully not be another origin story, because it's starting to get, like, as I said last week, it's starting to get like Spider-Man, where we just don't want another origin story. Like, thank God Spider-Man Homecoming is not another Uncle Ben dies, Peter Parker gets, wants to seek revenge. Peter Parker goes through a little bit of a tech upgrade and gets bitten by the spider and becomes Spider-Man, but he's wearing sweatpants. I mean, we might see some iterations of that. There might be a couple of flashbacks. However, um, you know, it's not going to be the same thing that we saw with Tobey Maguire and then again with Andrew Garfield. So, thankfully, thank God there's that. Also, Joe Magniello is already playing Deathstroke in the Batman, so he can't be he can't be Uncle Ben, judging by how hot Aunt May is in the new Spider-Man series. So again, these movies are allowed to have these headlines of possible short list of directors. Directors drop out of negotiations, and then a week or two later, the director's back in, and then slated to go. Same thing with Suicide Squad 2. Apparently, David Ayers is not directing it. He's directing Sirens of Gotham, the all-female villains starring Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, and we're gonna have. I believe it's gonna be Poison Ivy, Catwoman, and I think one or two more female villains are going to be heading it up. Margot Robbie killed it in Suicide Squad. I'd love to see her in another movie, even if it was or wasn't Suicide Squad. I'd love to see her show back up again for the Batman with Jared Leto as the Joker, because for all intents and purposes, they were really great in the DC universe that they were put in. Would Jared Leto be able to stand up to Heath Ledger's Joker? Absolutely not. Would he stand up to even Jack Nicholson's Joker? Probably not, because he's not written for Tim Burton. He's not written for Christopher Nolan. He was written for Zack Snyder. So it's going to be interesting to see where and what they do in order to push this like overarching storyline that we're going to be faced with for the rest of the rest of the franchise, because as we know with the Avengers, everything is leading up to the final battle with Thanos in Infinity War, and getting the gauntlet with all the Infinity Stones on it. So it's, we know with the Avengers that this is the end game, but with Justice League, we don't really know what the end game is, because right now Superman fought Zod, because Man of Steel was actually a part of the DCEU. Then you had Batman v Superman in Dawn of Justice, and you had the incarnation of Doomsday, which he was destroyed, so there's really nothing there now. And then Suicide Squad, you had the Enchantress come alive, and she was destroyed. So you really don't have, like, all you have are these characters being introduced. And again, the DCEU is playing a lot of catch up with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They've got almost, nearly 6 or 7 years of makeup to go for. By the time they came out with their first movie, there were already 2 Avenger films out. There were 3 Iron Man films, 2 Captain Americas, and 2 Thors, and the Hulk movies we really can't say, because the Hulk movies came out years ago, and they're just like, you know, they're the DC universe. I just don't see one line going across all the 3 movies that have been released so far that is telling me that this is what the ending is going to be. Now, a lot of people are speculating that the ending is going to be the ending is most likely going to be Darkseid, who is, in my elementary knowledge of this person, is kind of like their version of a Thanos or something like that. But you know, there's nothing going to it, and I hope the Justice League movie could at least, excuse me, could at least, you know, give us some insight as to what we're going up against. Because Batman v Superman, Superman or Batman and Doomsday were all, and Lex Luthor were all the antagonists at one point in that movie. Suicide Squad, Viola Davis was an antagonist. Enchantress was an antagonist. Enchantress's incestual brother was an antagonist. The Joker was an antagonist. You know, there was a lot going on, and there was really no tangible storyline. And we know that Wonder Woman's going to have Ares or armies as her antagonist, and Aquaman will have his own antagonist from his own comic books. But is there really someone that they could bring together, someone that they could just point out that's doing like the puppeteering from afar? It could even just be like, in a cave somewhere in Siberia. We need continuity. We doing all these standalone movies one after one after one after one is really not going to help us out all that much. So, for any of the directors that are coming in after, in the following movies, in the Batman, the Flash, in the Aquaman movie, and so on and so forth, they've got to realize, and the writers too, they've got to realize that they need to bring it all together. Because I mean, even Guardians of the Galaxy, it's a standalone movie, but they brought it. It doesn't even take place on Earth. The only time there was Earth was about 5 minutes in the first part of the scene, and that's it. They're out. The next time we'll probably see Earth in Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Don't know, but there's at least something, even if it's the smallest of details, to try to connect everything together. There's that little bit of something that will do that, and DC has just got to pull it through. And with the announcements of all these movies coming out, or all these movies being written in to do a segment of, just to say that we have movies coming out, that, oh, don't worry, fans, we're thinking of you. We really are. We're coming out with the Suicide Squad 2. We're gonna come out with Sirens of Gotham. Shazam is going to be coming out. Yeah, we'll do a Black Adam. And of course, all of these movies are slated and set to come out at some time, but we see no traction to them. We see no full storyline to them. And to tag along with that, this week, right after Matt Reeves was officially announced as the director of the Batman, we got a really, really surprising announcement from DC, and that is a Nightwing movie is now being added to the slate. So now we have a movie about a character who is only been shown as a memorialized person, and that's Dick Grayson. Now, the only time we've seen any sort of mention of Dick Grayson is in Batman v Superman. There's the statue in a glass case in the Batcave of Robin's costume with graffiti on it saying "ha ha ha ha," and I think "joke's on you," which clearly means that. I mean, it doesn't clearly mean this, but upon further investigation, there were bullet hole. People found bullet holes in the costume and all that kind of stuff. It just shows that there was or there is a Dick Grayson. And again, Ben Affleck's Batman is older. His Bruce Wayne is older. He's been around. He's got that. It's like going into Batman Beyond. He's the weathered Bruce Wayne, but not that old yet. Like, he's not going to hand it down into that. But now we have heard that the director from Lego Batman, again, didn't write his name down. The Lego Batman movie director is slated to direct the Dick Grayson slash Nightwing movie for the DCEU. So now we have another movie to think about, and Nightwing is a huge character. He's a cult classic. It's Dick Grayson's older alter ego, in which a to my knowledge is like the equivalent but yet younger sort of Batman. And I'm I for one am excited for something like that. I would love to see to see this kind of movie. It would be great to see these standalone movies be used. Yes, he uses batons. Thanks, Daff. Um, and he uses batons. Now, I have no problem with that whatsoever. But again, when your only reference to a sidekick or um to or a partner or even an equal to that of Batman that isn't a partner or a sidekick would be Nightwing. So you have this new movie that's being announced, which now now the Batman is slated, the director's in, and now they've hired a director to do Nightwing, which means that the Batman should and Justice League should have a reference to or a more tangible reference to that of Nightwing or Dick Grayson altogether. So they're coming out with all these possibilities. It's kind of like a tree or like spider or octopus or something like that, where you have all these things coming out from one source. Yet the thing is, with the DCEU, there's really no source keeping it together except for the fact that all the characters are the same. Ben Affleck will always be Batman in the DCEU. The Ezra Miller will be the Flash and all that kind of stuff. So you have this very loose connection, whereas Marvel, it's more like this, where everything comes out, and you have the standalone movies like Ant-Man or Guardians of the Galaxy or um uh Doctor Strange and Spider-Man Homecoming, where they'll all come together. And yeah, I believe, Daph, that the reasoning behind the lack of Robin or mention of Robin, or even just the statue that we saw in Dawn of Justice, that is one of the main reasons why we don't see a Robin or a mention of Robin, other than the fact that he's no longer around, and it has to do with something with the Joker. So, a a Nightwing Dick Grayson movie's coming out, and B, we're probably definitely going to be seeing a lot more of Jared Leto as the Joker. So if you didn't like him in Suicide Squad, he's going to be in it a little bit more. I mean, that's where the cards are falling as of right now. Whether or not he's actually doing it, I don't know. Like 30 Seconds to Mars is meant to have new music come out. Um, and they're just rocking out with whatever they're doing now. That's what they're going with. So DCEU is had a better week than it's been having. Um, it's it's starting to some of the bigger news that's been coming out has now started to drop down. Again, we haven't heard those nasty rumors of Wonder Woman having problems in post production. Same thing with Justice League. We saw a great trailer or a great set of trailers, and we've got a couple more coming out from Wonder Woman. Justice League definitely has a lot of trailers coming out. Probably will be announcing them at like San Diego Comic Con and maybe New York Comic Con, but because San Diego's in the summer, that's when DC will do it. And I mean, DC won the San Diego Comic Con last year, with dropping the Wonder Woman and the Justice League trailer. Um, but we'll see what goes on. Yeah, I I I see. Yeah, he wasn't pleased with Suicide Squad at all. Jared was very he was the first one to come out and say how upset he was, even quicker than David Ayer. But he came out and said he was very upset with how it was made. Didn't, he shot way more than what was in the movie, which is true. And even Margot Robbie said that what was shot in the movie, a lot of the Joker stuff did not push the present line forward. So, they shot a whole bunch of stuff with him, but it all got cut because it wasn't part of the main storyline. And now David Ayers is coming out and saying, and as I said again, David Ayers has come out and said, maybe I should have made the Joker the main villain of the movie. And with all the promotional material that you had with the Joker in it, and the Joker front and centered, you really should have. Because I thought I was going into a movie where at least the Joker was one of the main villains. No. You and Warner Brothers made the Joker look like a sick, long lost puppy who just wanted his owner back. And his owner was Harley Quinn. And yeah, there was a little bit of crazy. There was a little bit of there was a little bit of that, like, I'm nuts, don't, try not to come near me. But all in all, let's not kid ourselves. The Joker was just so in love with Harley Quinn that that's all he wanted. And again, I'm sure all the other scenes that were cut really did show the comic version of the Joker, or the cartoon version of the Joker, where he really is terrible to her. But guess what? That didn't come out at all. You know, and that's where it came in. And Daff, I agree with you 100%. As soon as the suits came in and said, no, this isn't going to make us money, he, stuff started getting cut and everything like that. And, this is just, it seems like a huge letdown, especially someone who's as a fan as the villains, where they're trying to make the villains seem cute and cuddly and great one-liners from a sharpshooter and stuff like that. I saw someone tweet out the other day, and I think I retweeted it or something like that, where it's just like, can we please make a villains movie where the villains are actually villains? I mean, you had that one scene where she's breaking glass and taking a part where Harley Quinn broke some glass and took a purse out and said, "What? We're still bad guys." It was cute. It was really too cute. It was meant to be a one-liner. It wasn't meant to show that they're still villains. It was a one-liner. It was nothing. It was something to get people in the seats. It was something to put on the TV that we're like, oh, she's actually playing a decent part in this. Come on, really? You're really not gonna try to pass that up. Um, but anyway, moving on. Um, you know, the DC EU still has a lot of work to go on. And they have a slate, they have a promising slate of movies coming out. Some to most of which don't have full on dates of release yet because they're still so up in the air. But it's not it's to me it's not enough. It's not it's just not enough of a story to push together. There's not enough of a story for me to go back and say, "Oh, you know what? I need to watch this again because this movie will have clues as to the next movie, which will have clues to the next movie." Like there's no clues in Suicide Squad that leads up to any sort of possibility of Wonder Woman. And again, Wonder Woman was introduced kinda during Batman v Superman, so now we're going to see her origin story. And now people are going to go back and say that's why she was badass in those last scenes. That's why she was. Right now, I'm just lost, completely and utterly lost. But anyway,